I was just reading a report from LinkedIn that says that members engage with over 1.5 million pieces of content every single minute on the platform. With this in mind, what are you going to do to stand out for your brand and your business on LinkedIn in 2025? In today's episode, we're going to go into planning mode. So if you're responsible for the LinkedIn strategy for your business, you're going to love it. G'day listeners, it's Coach Michelle J. Raymond, and I hope you're having an awesome week wherever in the world you are. And I know that it's only September, and you might be sitting there thinking, we can't really be talking about 2025 as yet. But the fact is, it's going to be here in no time. And the work that we do now, just like we've been doing every other week on this podcast, will really set you up for success in 2025. Planning is not a word that rolls off my tongue very easily. It's almost like a swear word. And that's because in my mind, I've always been the person that loves to fly by the seat of their pants, and I like to wake up in the morning and see, what do I feel like today? And that's great, but it's not great when you're trying to grow a business. It's not great when you're trying to align a LinkedIn strategy to a business strategy. And it's certainly not great when you want to maximize the ROI from your time on LinkedIn. For many business owners or marketing managers, if you're out there and you're responsible for your LinkedIn strategy, we're going to have a look at 3 key areas in today's episode that I think are really going to make the most difference in 2025. So the 3 key strategies that we're going to be looking at: the power of building community, content trends, and we're also going to be looking at engagement tactics. Before we go into those key areas, I just want to drop a quick word from our podcast sponsors, Metrical. Today, listeners, I want to talk about Metrical Premium. And if you don't already know what Metrical is, it's your all-in-one social media management platform that I personally use for my business, and I think it's a must-have tool in the marketing space. And while they do have a free forever plan, their upgraded plans unlock valuable features so you can grow your online presence for yourself, your clients, or even your business. I love that with Metrical, I can manage my LinkedIn pages and other social media channels in one single place. You can choose from their starter, advanced, or enterprise plans. And no matter your knowledge or skill, there is a plan for everybody. Some of the amazing premium features that are available across plans are LinkedIn connection, management of multiple brands. You can analyze up to 100 competitors. There are customizable links for any of your social media bios, downloadable reports that you can automate monthly, a hashtag search engine for Instagram and TikTok. You can assign team member roles, client access, and approval workflow, integration with Data Studio for further analysis, and much more. Create your free account today and upgrade to a premium plan while you're at it. Use code Michelle30 for 30 days free of any premium plan. Test out the program and become a Metricooler just like me. And of course, all of the details will be in the show notes. It's pretty safe to say as we go into 2025 that posting content alone is not enough. We know that as the platform gets crowded, it gets overrun with content, especially low quality content, that we have to do different things to stand out. And building a community is going to be way up the top of our priority list as marketers going into 2025. Building community, whether we're talking about individuals building their own personal community, whether we're talking about pages, going from just collecting followers to really becoming an industry hub, either way, it is not a game that you can play alone. It is super hard. A shout out to all of the small businesses, especially consultants that are out there trying to win at LinkedIn. You might feel like you're up against it. And to a certain degree, I probably think that's true. I've been there myself. But what I recognized early on is that one of the greatest ways that I could grow my profile on LinkedIn was to start looking at collaborations. Those collaborations started just because I was commenting thoughtfully on posts and expressing my own point of view. And I was consistently challenging those norms. I had something different to what other people were saying. And I think that's really important. I remember for my own journey, I started guesting on other people's podcasts. If you haven't ever been a guest on a podcast, I highly encourage you to do things like that. It is such a great way to borrow other people's already built communities. And that's essentially what you're doing when you're commenting as well. That person has built up their followers. That content that you're creating in the comments is then seen by their community. And hopefully you're attracting the right kinds of people. Another way that I have built up my collaborations, and you can do this as well, is think about who you could partner with on things like LinkedIn audio rooms or LinkedIn lives. And that could be other people within your business. It could be a brand partnership. There are so many different ways that you can keep an eye out on LinkedIn for collaborations. If I go back to the episode that I did on page advocacy, one of the things that I was very adamant about was getting your company page as well to not just sit on the sideline and post content. I want it to get in the game and start to build its own community. And it's going to do that by liking people's posts, including employees. It is going to be out there reposting. Perhaps it's a key supplier or a partner that your business works with. And it can also highlight other companies in the content that you do. Who else do you work with in your industry? Like, businesses don't operate in a standalone environment. And this is why page advocacy is a great way to build up your collaborations as well. So get out there and support other people. And this is why it's so important. This is why I've been talking about it. When it comes to LinkedIn, I get it. Content is really important. What's the kind of content that will work on LinkedIn in 2025? The first one that we're talking about, and I have been a huge advocate for this from the very beginning, and that is LinkedIn newsletters. Why do I love them? Because there's been so much research by LinkedIn. So go back to the Edelman Thought Leadership Report. Yes, I'm banging on about that. It was commissioned by LinkedIn that basically says buyers, B2B buyers, are looking for thought leadership content that helps support their decision making. LinkedIn newsletters are the best way that we can create long-form content on LinkedIn. And when you think about it, there's no other social platform that incorporates long-form articles and newsletters like LinkedIn does. Besides the fact that you can go into a lot more detail, the other reason that I love it is you build subscribers. So as the home feed gets more and more competitive, the good news is when you put out a new edition, all of your subscribers to the newsletter are notified, right? So there's no more of that competition, that hustle and bustle of the home feed. You go around it and go directly to who you want to talk to. What else am I definitely backing that I think you should really plan into your 2025 LinkedIn marketing strategy besides long-form newsletters? It's almost contradictory, to be honest, because what I'm about to say is video, and especially short-form video. LinkedIn are reporting that video content is the most popular format of content that is growing on the platform. So 34% year on year from their latest report. And when it comes to video and it comes to the trend, I don't think it's going away. It's not my personal preference. I don't particularly enjoy scrolling and, hoping and praying that I find a bit of content that I like. But there is no doubt with the popularity of TikTok, of shorts, of reels, that LinkedIn's going to want a piece of that pie. Now, we've seen what happens when they try and copy them. LinkedIn had stories a couple of years ago. Rest in peace, stories. I really miss stories. I love the idea of having a space for content that doesn't live forever. Why I'm a little bit hesitant on this one is sometimes LinkedIn goes out hard and with a brand new feature, they can often take it away, or it doesn't appear in the same way that I'm talking about it here today, what I can see. We've gone from having video buttons to video carousels where you can go into these different feeds. I don't think that they exactly know what they want to do with this just yet. So I'm backing the power of video. I love it because you can build your personal brand, your company brand, and it can't be replicated by AI unless you're driving the deep fakes. It's not to say that there aren't tools out there that will do it, but you have to be involved in generating that in some way. There's some people that have tried video content for the first time recently after one of my LinkedIn posts encouraging them to do it. Honestly, I felt more connected to them because all of a sudden it was little things. I was like, I didn't know you sounded like that. There was a different level of energy that came across. And that I think is going to be important in 2025. Whether it's the brand creating the videos or whether it's the individuals or employees creating the videos, I think more of the humanness is going to come out. And I think more of that authenticity. And I'm hoping that striving for perfection when it comes to videos goes out the window. I wish that was a trend going in 2025 where we just kind of threw caution to the wind and we just put ourselves out there in all our glory for other people to see. If I was going to answer the question that a lot of people ask, where should I put the priority? I actually think that the idea is make sure that you mix things up. I think that there isn't one form of content that will dominate over another in your community. So focus on what will make the biggest difference to the people in that community that you've built. How can you create content that serves them best? And knowing that we all learn a little bit differently, I think that's why it's important to mix things up. If you are planning your content strategy for 2025, I would say to you that you need to incorporate a strategy for employee-generated content. Find a way to support the people within the business to be themselves and talk about what they do. This does not need to be a full-on production. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. Sometimes I think the more real it is, the more people trust that kind of content. And I think it's the kind of content that money can't buy. I especially hope that in 2025, I get to see a lot of the younger creators putting content out on LinkedIn as employees. And marketing managers, if you are from a different generation like I am, support them, let them experiment, let them get creative. You just never know what's going to work. And letting someone have a go is not going to break your brand. Who should be creating the video content within your business? Pretty much anyone. It doesn't have to be the CEO or founder. You might actually find that you've got an amazing video creator that is used to creating content over on Reels or TikToks, and you can bring their skills across onto the platform. Okay, we're into the third section of what I would be focusing on for your LinkedIn marketing strategy in 2025, and that is planning around how are you going to boost your LinkedIn engagement and thought leadership on the platform. If you think about the strategy that we've built out while we've been planning in this episode, is that we've looked at community building and we've looked at content. So of course we want to build out our engagement. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn and building engagement, there are some types of content which I think you need to include in the mix that I haven't spoken about already. And they are interactive content styles. What's an interactive content style? Very glad you asked me. What they are is the kind of content that gets your community involved. And it could be as simple as a poll. Ask them for their feedback. Ask them to answer a question. So polls is an easy way to get your audience to engage. Now that's one thing, but probably the next level up from that is having your own LinkedIn audio rooms or your LinkedIn live streams. These are going to drive engagements in real time. Having that engagement allows you to get real-time market intelligence, instant feedback, and you build not only your audience engagement, but the thought leadership as well, all in one half an hour lot. What's cool about LinkedIn audios and LinkedIn lives is that not only are you building communities because it is an engaging type of content, because people can come up on stage in the audio events and add their thoughts, because in a LinkedIn live, they can type the comments and respond to shout outs that you put out and questions that you ask. You're also positioning yourself as a thought leader leading those conversations and building your community that way. So don't forget about interactive content. Next thing we're going to have a look at kind of builds on collaborations that we were talking about earlier. And I think we're going to see the rise of brand partnerships. And think about the rise of the LinkedIn influencer. And I don't mean it in the cringy way. I mean it in those niche areas where there are people that have built a powerful following and a community, just like we've been talking about here today, that are seen and positioned as thought leaders in the industry. I think we're going to see a lot more collaborations, and I'm encouraging you to think, how can we work with someone else in the industry that's already built up that perception around their personal brand? And LinkedIn themselves have thrown money towards this. You can see that they have things now where you can flag a post to say it's been a brand partnership. And there's a brand that's had a huge amount of success with this, and it's Lyft, Lyft. So they're similar to Uber if you don't have it in your country. And they have a company page that has about 300,000 followers, and it's been cool. That company page has been actively commenting out and around on the platform and supporting people that have had new roles and saying, hey, why don't you grab yourself a Lyft on your way to work so it's less stressful on your first day? But more importantly, they've partnered up on the platform with influencers on LinkedIn to share the message about their product. And it's the first time that they've ever tried it. Normally it's a B2C play that they would do on other platforms. This has been so cool to see what they've done on LinkedIn. But, myself, I kind of think about it. I've built a significant following that I talk to B2B marketers, to business owners. I am somebody that's respected, and thank you to all of you podcast listeners that are a part of that. But that's something as I head overseas on what I'm calling my world domination tour next year in March, which is where I'm speaking at Uplift Live and then social media marketing world in the same trip. And I'm thinking about ideas right now around the brands that I would love to partner with that will sponsor that trip, or parts of it, or parts of my presentation. Like, who can I work with? I kind of think, well, who are the brands out there that are aligned to my values? And we're going to see a lot of this coming from both ways, requests from influencers, requests from brands to partner. And that's something I'm super excited about. I also think when it comes to boosting your LinkedIn engagement and thought leadership, as we plan that out for 2025, you have to start thinking, how can we create content that's authority building? So coming back to that thought leadership piece, and this is going to definitely come back to quality over quantity. Can't say it enough. There's so much rubbish out there, especially AI generated rubbish. Go team, it's time to get some quality back. How can you do that? By generating your own insights and stats and really showing people that you know your industry. By creating your own insights, you become the authority. And again, we want to position your brand or you as an individual as a thought leader. So be the person that generates these insights that other people look to. So boosting your LinkedIn engagement and thought leadership, there are a couple of ways that I think are going to be important in 2025 beyond the everyday activities that we all need to do. I can't be certain of many things in this world, especially when it comes to LinkedIn, but I am absolutely certain that if we don't take the time to plan out our strategies for 2025, we don't adapt and evolve to the changing platform, and our competitors do, they are going to leave you in their dust and you're going to get left behind, and that costs your business opportunities and growth. And I never want that for you listeners. Now is the time to formulate the strategies for building a community, thinking about some of those content trends that I spoke about, and really thinking about how can you level up your engagement tactics. There you have it, listeners, your LinkedIn B2B marketing guide for 2025 to help your business build a community and drive growth. Until next week, cheers.